Hey, it's Inve. It's been a second. I have been in my hidey hole playing Armored Core 6 for the last couple of weeks, and thought I'd make a video, talk about my thoughts on it. Before we get started, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, make sure the YouTube algorithm starts to love me again after not uploading again for 2 weeks, but with all that out of the way, let's get right into it. So, Armored Core 6. I think the game's awesome. I could honestly just leave it there and do like a 30-second video, but I don't really like doing YouTube shorts, so I'm going to talk a little bit more about my thoughts. The game, I think, is probably the best mecha game out there. I mean, that's probably going to ruffle a few feathers, considering there are other Armored Core games that people like more. But in my opinion, those other Armored Core games are not that much fun. Some of them, a lot of them, have pieces of their gameplay that I enjoy more than Armored Core 6. For instance, I like chain boosting and second staging in 4th gen. I think those are super cool. Would have been really nice to see a return to form to chain boosting at least. I wasn't expecting second staging to make a comeback. I really like the wall kick in Verdict Day. I was kind of sad to not see that come back. However, those games, while I love them dearly, are truly not that much fun to play through in single player for the first time. I mean, some people will disagree with me on that, and you are very much entitled to your opinion, as am I to mine. In my opinion, that is an opinion, the old Armored Core games' story modes are not great. There's a lot of filler missions, and the boss fights kind of suck. They're just usually sort of wet noodles that you can kill with anything you would kill another player with in PvP. And maybe that's my problem, is that I'm too much of a PvP gremlin to truly appreciate the old Armored Core games, but this one, I fucking like this one. This one's really cool. AC6, I think, is the first one of these games where I've finished the campaign and been like, alright, sweet. I'm down to run another NG plus of this real quick. It'll be great. I'm having fun. This is a fun game. My favorite of the old Armored Core titles is For Answer, which is the one that has the multiple paths and stuff. You know, it's one that a lot of people play. A lot of people love. I love the multiplayer of it. However, after finishing my first playthrough of that game, I downloaded 100% save and went straight into multiplayer because, man, I did not want to play half of those missions again. AC6 does have some missions that I don't like exactly. There are a few where I boot them up and I go, oh god, it's this mission again, right? I have to finish this. In particular, the gimmick boss of the game, I'm not the biggest fan of its mission. I think if you do everything right, the set piece is super cool, but there should be more checkpoints in that mission for my dumbass who keeps missing the shot. I'm not going to talk in detail about that too much, because I don't really want to get into spoiler territory. This is just going to be pretty spoiler-free for anybody who somehow hasn't played it in the last 2 weeks. I know pretty much everybody has it, but some people are perhaps not so gifted in the Corium and might not be all the way through all 3 playthroughs yet. You know, some of those bosses can be kind of hard. So let's talk about the bosses. I like the bosses. I think the bosses are fantastic. The first wall that everyone hits, Balteus, I think is a super cool boss personally. I really enjoy dodging the wall of missiles, the flamethrower, all that. He is as challenging as the memes state, but I think that's mostly due to the limitations on parts that you have. I know I said I wasn't going to talk about spoilers and I said Balteus, but is that really a spoiler at this point? I mean, he has been memed to death. Like, the dude is everywhere. He was in the trailer. Fuck it, that's not a spoiler. Anyway, yeah, I thought Balteus was super cool. I'll not talk about the bosses after him, but I also thought they were super cool. In general, I feel like this game kind of fixes the issue that a lot of the old Armored Core games had, which was the bosses are just a big AC fight, and definitely there are a couple of bosses in AC6 that suffer the same issue, but For the most part, the bosses in 6 feel like actual bosses, not just like another arena fight. Because while I love arena fights, and I think next fights are super cool, they're not very difficult in the old games in general. There are a couple exceptions to this rule, which I'm sure people will loudly scream out in the comments, but for the most part, Armored Core bosses in the past have been kinda, you just shoot them with stuff that kills an AC, and it kills the AC. I like that in 6, the game actually forces you to adjust your loadout to fight some of the bosses. Some people might not like that as much, but I enjoy being forced to change. That said, some of the later sections I didn't feel as forced to change because the Zimmermans exist, and they are really good. Once you kind of build a perfect loadout, a lot of the bosses start to fold like paper, which that's kind of a problem that all the Armored Core games have, and I'm not really sure how to solve that. However, I do wish that the perfect boss melter loadout was perhaps a little bit harder to use. Double Zimmermans are quite easy, as they say. But then, it wouldn't be meta if it was difficult. Moving on, let's talk a little bit about the part balance of the game. I think the part balance is kind of wacky, and I don't feel like I'm alone in that sentiment. But there's not really much we can do about it until FromSoft gets around to fixing it. I do think in its current state the game is fun. However, I do think that the multiplayer is perhaps not competitively suited right now. With the way the balance is, I think rifles really need help and machine guns really need help, the Gatling gun excluded of course, but like, man, it feels weird to have this game be so close ranged. I tend to be a close ranged player, so it's not that big of a jump for me. But I did kind of want to play snipers with keyboard and mouse in this game to see if I could just be really annoying. And that playstyle doesn't really exist so much. That's kind of a bummer. I wish that they would extend the ranges in general of the game and kind of amp the bullet velocity of everything up, and also make the bullet velocity stat visible. But with the whinging about parts aside, what about PvP? I am a PvP gremlin, so it's a little bit weird that the video up until now has just been talking about the PvE, honestly, but for the first time in the series, like I said, I have been really digging the story mode of this game. I think it's sick. But the PvP, I think, is okay. It's not as cool as the story mode, which is, again, I think a first for my opinions. I think with part balance updates, it will probably be more fun, but as it stands right now, it's kind of just a mode that me and some friends dick around in every once in a while, which is fine. But I was sort of hoping for, I don't know, a ranked mode or, matchmaking. Like, I like having a lobby system, but I would also really like a matchmaking system to exist alongside the lobby system. While I think lobbies are, like, awesome, most people don't. And I'm kind of the opinion that I want more people to play multiplayer with, so they should cater it towards most people, not necessarily me, in the aspect of how you find a match. What was I saying? Right, the multiplayer. The part balance plays a really big role as to why the multiplayer is just kind of meh for me right now. It's just wacky. I mean 1.0 on Armored Core games is usually kind of wacky, but this is particularly wacky. I feel like in PvP our health pool is just way too low and we get one shot. Like, I feel like the health pools were built around having your entire AP bar loaded into your healing kits. But we don't have our healing kits in PvP, so we just have a third of the AP that we would everywhere else in the game. I don't really know how to fix that, because I don't really want healing in PvP, but if they could just like give us all of the AP from the healing that we would have gotten at the start of the match and bring us back to like 3,500 AP or something for a midweight, that would be awesome. I don't know exactly how that would play. Maybe some talented modder could triple our AP in multiplayer and figure out some way to connect people while modded, but that's probably a little bit too much to ask. Yeah, I don't really know what to do about multiplayer. It's fun to play around in though. I mean, I'm still gonna be playing it. I'll probably be here and there on the Discord when I finish gathering all of the secret parts and gathering all the logs, because I still haven't gotten all of those. Did finish all 3 endings though, but yeah. In conclusion, what do I think about Armored Core 6? This game's sick. It is really, really cool. I'm really happy with the way it came out. I'm probably going to keep playing it for a long time. When I stopped playing, or when I stopped, when I went to record footage for this, I just kind of got swept into the game and just ended up playing a couple more missions than I really meant to. And that just kind of goes to show the game's really fun, which, you know, that's super cool. I hope that FromSoft makes it more competitively viable as a game, because I would like to see Armored Core turn into something that people play competitively, even if it's not a true esport. Although seeing the Armored Core like finals tournament on ESPN would be hilarious in their esports section. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I would love for them to add like a ranked mode though, and like a ping indicator. It's like my wish list for AC6. Ranked mode, ping indicator, balanced parts. Then it'll be a 10 out of 10. As it is, it's like, I don't know, probably like an 8. If I had to give it a number, probably like an 8 out of 10. 8 or a 9 out of 10. I don't know. I'm not used to really giving real number scores. Usually I just say 10 out of 10 for garbage games, but I like this one. I like this game a lot. I think it's super cool. That's been the video. If you like the video and like my opinion, subscribe and like and whatever. Give me Patreon money. I don't know. If you hate it, leave a comment and boost the YouTube algorithm. That's it. Thanks.